Who is Pierre Wilson? Well, I'm a husband to a beautiful wife, my college sweetheart. I'm a father of three wonderful children. And for many of you, you know me as the senior director of Blexit. You may be asking, why a podcast? Why now? Well, I'll be honest with you. I asked myself the same question many times. I said, what do I have to add to the podcast space? I mean, there's so many podcasts out today, right? Well, the answer came to me pretty quickly. As I traveled the country, as I talked to people, largely working behind the scenes at Blexit, I realized something, and especially in those conversations that I was having, that my voice mattered, and not just behind the scenes, but publicly. I needed to speak up. I needed to be loud about my beliefs. Because I realized that my story and my journey was so many other people's story. That the journey that they were going through was a journey I had been through, a journey I am still on today. I realized that I was actually doing the movement as a whole, the conservative movement, a disservice by not speaking up more. That's why I'm sitting in front of you today. More importantly, I recognize that I had broken chains that were binding me back. I was looking at things for so long in my life through a lens of racism. I thought anything that happened to me must be because I'm Black. I looked at things with a victim mindset. Even as I accomplished things, it was bittersweet. Because in the back of my head, I couldn't get out of my mind that no matter how much success I had, I would still somehow be held back because of the color of my skin. These things were binding me. When I saw an officer, a police officer who was there to protect and serve, I got nervous, binding me. And one day I realized that it was me who was holding me back. It was me who was creating uncomfortable environments. It was me who had put my own self in chains. So today, I want to help you break chains. And it may not be the same chains as mine. It could be any chains. We're going to talk to a lot of people while we do this podcast. People who have overcome so much. And my goal is that it helps you overcome whatever it is that's binding you. But before we jump in, I would be doing a disservice as well if I didn't thank the people who helped me get to where I'm at today. I consider myself humbly a trailblazer in the Black conservative movement and in the conservative movement as a whole. But before me, there were those like Candace Owens, Brandon Tatum, Dr. Ben Carson, Thomas Sowell, who I think is the absolute GOAT, who were bold enough to speak up. And now I'm paying it forward. And today, you look around and you see so many different young people involved, not just in Black America, but all across the conservative movement. So thank you to those who inspired my journey and let this podcast inspire yours. Welcome to the first episode of Unchained with Pierre Wilson. Well, we're going to start things off hot. I promise you a great lineup of guests. I'm going to bring in people with the most powerful stories, okay? And the person I'm bringing in today, I'm already smiling because I'm so excited to talk to her. I've gotten a chance to really get to know her through the years. This is my sister. This is a friend. But more importantly, she's someone who has inspired so many different people. She's a Blexit advisor. She's also part of 511 Media, who I want to also say thank you to for putting together this podcast. Mike, I know you're watching. And also, she is an abortion survivor. That's right. An abortion survivor who is not a victim and not blaming her circumstances or not letting them hold her back. Welcome, Renata DaSilva.
Thank you. What a great pleasure to be here with you, Pierre Wilson. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me for this amazing conversation.
Listen, I have to be, I promise to be straightforward with my audience. This is episode one. I'm going to be straightforward with them. I have to tell them this, this episode worked out perfectly, right? I think Renata, we were talking about different guests at one point that we were going to bring on, but God said, your first guest is Renata. And I said, Lord, you always know what you're doing. So I couldn't be more proud to have you as the first guest, Renata. Seriously.
Yeah, this was all God because I was not even thinking. I kept giving you names. Pierre, invite this person, invite
You were
that
like, who, me? What?
person. First episode, I feel so honored and humbled to be here with you, Pierre. Thank you so much for the invite. We've been working together throughout the years. I think over 5 years now.
Yeah.
I could say. And when I say that you are my twin, as an abortion survivor, I was a twin. And I always say, whenever we got together and worked together, God just crossed the path that you found me online and invited me to come enjoy the amazing organization, which is Blexit. And every time I think about that, it's like, that's my twin. That's the twin, my brother that I did not have. Yeah. And it's been an incredible journey to serve alongside of you.
Listen, and I don't take that lightly. You said a lot of things to me through the years that have made me feel very special. But when you shared that, I think that's one that stuck with me it's going to stick with me forever. Tell the audience that story. You lost your twin, right? With doing that abortion attempt.
Exactly. Yeah, I found out because I was adopted. I didn't know my story as much. I kept hearing rumors. When you grow up, you hear something here, you hear something there. And I was questioning about my family. So I knew that there was this lady that would come in and pick me up from time to time, because in Brazil, the laws are different. So for you to be fully adopted, both parents have to sign up. In my case, my father never signed up on the adoption. So I lived with my uncle and my aunt. They adopted me. So yes, my mom was pregnant with twins and she took the saline. Actually, I watched a video another day that really clarified to me the whole detail they described from beginning through the end, what it takes when you take the saline solution. So that's exactly, so since my brother, I think he was my protector, unfortunately, he took the hit with all this saline solution. And he was defending me. He was a true man. He was defending me, and he got hit. I didn't have much of a scalp. My hair took a while to grow up, but here I am today for such time as this. I survived.
So your brother, it's it's so powerful the way you say that you look at it, that your brother defended you so you could live, so that you could be here today. So even though you haven't had a chance to actually meet your brother, yet you feel like he did something special from the moment you guys were bonded in the womb.
Exactly. After I got to know Jesus, because I found Jesus here in the United States, I was not very religious. I was not going to church in Brazil because I'm originally from Brazil. But here I understood the power of the Father. Before I was formed in the womb, the Lord knew me. And that love from him that came to me, it helped me understand and pushed away the rejection that I had throughout life. Because like you said at the beginning, when you opened it, you said so powerfully, we can be our worst enemies because we're the first ones to reject ourselves. So I rejected myself for a long time. People look at me today, and I remember there were times that I could not look myself in the mirror because I thought there was something wrong with me because my parents did not want me. But until I found Jesus, I found God, and I said, he wanted me. He chose me. And
Yeah,
here
he did.
Today.
Well, when you look at that, because your story, I think it's powerful, and I think the audience will agree. You survived something that's so extreme, and I feel like so many. Obviously, you see the abortion rate in the country right now, and you see where people are, and the pro-life movement versus the pro-choice movement and whatnot. But ultimately, you look at what's happening and how it's been tearing the country apart, and yet you have literally gone through this. You survived an abortion. From the moment you came out, you had to battle. That's special, Renata. But when you look at the left, right, you look at the Democrats and the policies, for example, Kamala Harris, what she's been pushing, she's promising essentially abortion on demand, and even bigger than just abortion. She's pushing for policies that keep the community, and particularly the Black community, very dependent, as if they can't do anything for themselves. Yet you are living proof that you are not your circumstances, that you've overcome one of the most extreme, horrendous situations, right? And you sit here today as a victor. What do you have to say to someone like Kamala Harris, who believes that some Black people shouldn't even be born, and also believes that the ones who are just can't do it on their own? They're victims.
How interesting. Somebody that calls herself Black, when it's convenient to
Mhm.
her, that she advocates to take the sanctity of life. And she believes that she advocating for the American people, for the American woman. And there is something that I always speak to a lot of people. I remember people usually, they don't know how to talk to me because they talk to the mothers, oh, you did an abortion, I feel so sorry for you, but they don't talk to the survivors.
Mm.
They don't talk to us and see how you feel, what do you have to overcome in your journey. And I tell you, it was a very hard journey, but it all begins with your choice. You have a choice in life, a choice to look at your own circumstances and look at yourself and say, I cannot do anything. Or you just look it up and say, I survived. And there is a reason, that I survived. I always say I've survived for such time as this. So I don't take any day for granted. Every day is a victory. It's my survival day. My birthday is my survival day. And the funny story is I was born the day of my mother's birthday.
Wow.
We share the same birthday. I was her gift.
Happy birthday. I'm here, mama. Right?
I came to this and it's like in coming in the Black community, even overseas, my mom, I've learned that afterwards that I was born, she was trapped in very, let's say a bad lifestyle.
Mhm.
And she was in jail. She went to jail because of her poor choices, and she had to exit the jail to have us because she thought we are not going to survive. But here I am today, and I say when I look at Kamala's policies, what she's trying to do, she's just trying to erase history
Mm.
because all comes with a life. She survived. Her kids survived. She has her kids, right? She doesn't say, "Oh, I want to abort my own kids." Everyone that advocates for abortion have survived. And that blows my mind for the fact that she tries to use that in the Black community and use that as a token, like the NC did abortion on demand. And I don't understand as
I
Christians.
thought that was absolutely. I mean, I think if you when you
Yeah,
see what was happening at the DNC, I mean, they had an abortion on wheels essentially. I mean, you look at the crime that's happening right now. You look at people are struggling to pay for groceries, and that's your priority to provide abortion on demand outside of the DNC. No wonder they're panicking right now about the polls and everything because they are so out of touch of what's going on in America today.
exactly. Yeah. And I think they're not talking to people like myself, like you, like many other women, like your wife. They don't talk to the regular women in the country. I think we don't make to the media narrative. So they don't want to talk to us. So they just talk to this minority groups that making this such a big noise about abortion. But if you talk to majority of Americans, they are not in favor of abortion, especially Christians. Like, how can you be a Christian and be in favor of murdering your child?
Yeah.
Because I believe abortion is murder. It's murder. You murdering a child,
I
an
like
innocent life.
I saw something the other day. Someone sent it to me, and I said, man, what a great way to explain this. It said, me being pro life is not a political position, it's a biblical position. And I share that with people all the time. This is not about Republican or Democrat. For me, I am not the one making decisions. God is the one making the decisions, and it is my job to carry out those decisions as my Father has asked us, right? As He has asked of us. So if He says it's wrong, it's wrong. If He says it's right, it's right. It's not my place to question it. But I want to dig into something a little bit deeper because we kind of started to touch on this, and I really want to give your thought, get your thoughts. Um, Being an abortion survivor is a part of who you are, but I've known you for years, and you're so versatile. You're very involved in the local GOP, and for so long, right? And I want to kind of touch into some things, and I'm going to plug Blexit here, right? Because I'm so proud of what we've accomplished at Blexit together. But I really want to kind of dig into why did it take the conservative movement so long to recognize to me, the wicked ways of the left, right? The Democrats have been taking advantage of the black vote for years. They've ignored issues in the black community. They've pushed policies that have kept us dependent. And in every election cycle, they come around, they scream the Republicans are racist, or they say something to create this emotional attachment to them. And then as soon as they're elected again, they forget about them, right? Until it's election season again. But we talk about that, right? You hear that on conservative stations often. But why? Because we got to call out conservatives a little bit too. Why did it take us so long? Obviously, Blexit's on a lot now and other groups, but why did it take us so long to recognize what was happening? Were the Democrats just that better at it than we were?
Yeah, I think it comes to organizations like Blexit. I cannot come to the answer of this question based what I believe so dear and near to my heart, which is Blexit. How we always believe we're not victims, we are victors. And I think, especially in the Black and minority communities, my majority of us are conservatives who just didn't know it.
Yes.
I think it comes to that.
That's a key thing. And I hate to interrupt you really quick, but that is such an important point that you mentioned. I tell people all the time, and they ask me that with me. They say, oh, when did you become a Republican? Or when did you become a conservative? And I say, I've always actually been conservative. I just realized that I just now became a Republican. Your values are your values. So my values were conservative forever. I just didn't know. I didn't know that I was voting the wrong way. And so I just wanted to point out that point to the audience, because what you're saying is 100% spot on.
Yeah, it's so powerful because, even when it came to Blexit, I saw the need of the communities, because we just want to come together to help one another, because we don't want to hand out. We want to hand up.
Yes.
I remember when I went to the JFK building, when I did my citizenship on this country in 2000, I became a citizen, which I love this land. I love the Constitution of this country. I believe a lot of people have no idea what we have here in America, because the United States is the only country in the world that the Constitution gives the right back to the people, not to the government. And I don't understand why the people, the Americans, because now, as a citizen, I'm an American, we want to give it back, the right that was given to us, to the government, empower the government, big government. That is crazy. That's insane. And I remember this when I went to the JFK building in Boston. It said ask not what the country can do to you, but what you can do to your country. And I think that's what the left tried to tie into us, for us to forget where we came from. We, as Americans, we're the country that is the beacon of hope to many other countries and nations, even Christians, because in Brazil, in my country, back home, we first heard the gospel through Americans. So you plant the seed all over the world. We have empowered our own communities, and our Black folks, we're so smart. Like I see in Blexit, the leaders, how they're flourishing, how talented they are, how they thriving on their own communities. We have doctors, we have so many with PhDs, we have so many bright and smart people, but being told here in America that you are not smart enough to make up in life for yourself. So I feel every time I hear the left talking, they always talking down on people. We cannot think for ourselves. We cannot make decisions on our own. We need to be told by the left who we should vote, how we should vote, because if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. So this is ridiculous. It's not about the color of your skin, but the content of your character and who we are as human beings. Like myself, when I came to the United States, Pierre, the only words I spoke was hi and bye. And now looking at people.
Now look at you.
It's like, and I still fight with English every day. I said, okay, let's fight and let's get this done today. But that's what I see. And I see so much hope. This is the land of hope, of dreams. America is so unique. I'm so passionate every time I talk about United States. And I don't take it for granted. Everything that I have here, Pierre, like you said, I came here to this country, if America was so bad, like we hear the left talking all the time, pushing us down the hill, why the border is being invaded? It should be empty. Why not everybody's breaking trying to go to North Korea? Why they're not trying to go to the Middle East like they tried to
Always
go to America?
I always wonder. When you ask a liberal that, you ask someone on the left, they have no answer for that. They have no idea. It's like, who would try to illegally break into a place that's horrible? Like, I'm sorry. Like, if I know someone's in a house murdering people, I'm not going to bust down the door or try to sneak in through the window to let me get involved with that murder. Like, if I know a situation is really bad, I'm not going in there, and I'm certainly not going to sneak in there. I'm going to avoid it at all costs. So the fact that people are working so hard to get here, to the point that they're willing to do illegal things to come to this country, it ruins the left's argument every single time you tell them that, because no one's going to break in if the country is really that bad. The truth is, America is the greatest country on earth, and that's why they're fighting to come here.
Absolutely, Pierre. And I know how humble you are. But a lot of the things, like, I'm so grateful for what you created. I know Candace Owens and Brendan Taters are the founders of Blexit, but you were the one who really picked up the idea and ran with it and built what you built today. Because if you see inside of Blexit, how many leaders, and we work with so many people that were discouraged by the left, thinking that they were not capable to be where they are today. And Blexit came alongside with your idea, with your vision, empowering the minority communities that we see now thriving through Blexit.
And I appreciate that so much, Renata. You had a lot to do with that too. So the thanks goes right back to you as well. But people wonder often, they ask me questions like, Pierre, how did you build something? Because what a lot of people don't know enough about Blexit. There's plenty of people who do, right? But there's some who don't know enough about us, and they don't know enough about us because we are the gritty and the group that will do the dirty work, the grassroots work in the cities of Baltimore, Detroit, Atlanta, all these places that everybody talk about. They talk about it online, right? It's so easy to get in front of a mic and to talk about these places, but it's a whole different story to actually be out there and doing the work. So, I want to bring up the fact that Kamala is actually panicking right now. I think she's going to be doing an interview, a couple interviews on Fox News, and she's considering, from what I heard, potentially going on Joe Rogan. And she's just doing all these things that people think are uncharacteristic of her. Like, why is she doing this? And then she has Obama out here talking to people as if he's their father, which was so disrespectful, the way Obama was talking to black men. So disrespectful. Okay. But they're asking themselves, like, why is she doing all these things? Well, and then when people start to dig into it, and they're talking about the polls, they're like, oh my gosh, the polls are showing that black men, specifically black people across the board, but black men really are abandoning her. I mean, I look at some polls where she is below every major Democratic candidate. And God knows how long. I mean, they showed Hillary Clinton, they showed Joe Biden, they showed Barack Obama. I mean, she is so far below where all of them were trending, and people are shocked. And I'm not. I tell people I'm not shocked, not even a little bit. You know why? Because we've been doing this for years. We see the momentum. I've been telling people it's changing, it's changing, it's changing. So everyone else is starting to realize that it's changing. But the truth is that people are rejecting the nonsense that she's spitting out here. They can see the pandering for what it is. They're starting to wake up, and I do believe Blexit deserves a lot of credit for that. I know we're not in it for the credit with Blexit. We are, again, you're not going to do the gritty work for credit, right? You're going to do the flashy work. We're doing the gritty work that people sometimes don't see. But I do believe, like you said, so many of our leaders deserve the credit for it. And the other thing I want to mention, because you said something and it made me think about Hawk Newsome, the interesting Hawk Newsome, the BLM leader, Black Lives Matter leader of Greater New York. Oh my goodness. I remember he was on a show with Brandon Tatum. It was Candace's show, actually, one of our old shows. And, Brandon was just so confused by the victim mentality, because Hawk has a law degree. I mean, this man has a law. Brandon's like, you have a law degree. You've accomplished so much in this country, and yet you're still out here telling everybody that they're victims. You look at LeBron James, right, and you see what he's doing and how he's talking. This man is married. He's been married to, I think, his high school, college sweetheart. He has a family, right? He's an NBA player, came from nothing. I mean, when you look at his story, it's incredible. It's an American dream. Yet, what does he do? He uses his platform to push the victim mentality, right? So even when Black people rise to the occasion and they are successful in this country, because guess what? You can be successful if you work hard, no matter the color of your skin. They still turn around and they push the victim mentality. Why does that happen? Why do people who experience the American dream still turn around? Is it profitable? Is it easier to do that? Why do you think that's the case, Renata?
Well, that creates dependency. So if it creates dependency, because once you don't know who you are, you're going to be labeled by other people, correct? So the first thing is to look yourself. Even the scripture says we are the image of God. We're not the shadow of God. And once you understand who you are, you own the room. And they don't want them to they don't want that to the Black community. They want us to continue to say, okay, you need me. Let me give you this, continue with this handout. So that creates a dependency. Because until when you don't know who you are, imagine how easy it is for them to be sitting in the mansions that they are and tell, I feel so bad for you. I feel so bad for the community. We suffer. I want to suffer like LeBron James. I'll be okay. I'll be just fine.
This guy has millions, and he's
millions,
still just...
and then they say defund the police, but they have private security.
Exactly.
And
if you defund the police, what's going to happen is the rich are going to end up funding their own security, and then we're gonna, there are gonna be people in low-income communities then saying, "Oh my gosh, we're being treated unfairly." Black people are gonna say, "Oh my gosh, they're being racist because they have security of their own and we don't have any protection." It's just gonna be a whole nother problem. We need to fund the police even more. We need to increase their budget because they're overworked, they're tired, and they're the heroes of our community. Are they bad apples? For sure, but there's a bad apple working at McDonald's. I hate to tell you, there's a bad apple in every profession. Now, you're going to find bad apples because they're bad people out here. However, defunding the police is not the answer. Never has been.
Exactly, because if you look at the communities, who's suffering? Minorities are suffering. Who doesn't have securities on their neighborhood? What the high levels of violence that you see in America? I remember when I came to the United States in 1996, Pierre, I remember you could leave your car with the keys on. You will not have to worry about those things. Now try to do that. Look at the invasion on the border. We don't know who's coming into our country. Look what is happening in Ohio. Look what's happening throughout the country. So everything, like I always tell people, whenever they question me and challenge me, I say to them, just point me one state that is led by the left, that is thriving, that is secure, that the people in minority communities are really doing well. You don't see that. And they see them all flooding to red states. Like I live here in South Carolina, in my community, I remember we only have few homes. I live in the middle of the woods. And now no longer, it's buildings everywhere. Because people are moving to the red states because what they see security, they see the policies of the Republicans are working. Because we know, we truly care about the people, but the left has a way to say those acronyms, which they say, dreamers. Of course, everybody wants to dream. Black Lives Matter. Of course, Black Lives Matter. All life matters. So they use these acronyms to take people by the heart, and people start, go through emotions instead of going through reasoning.
Here's the cold hard truth about the Democrats. They don't care about you. They never have. They never will. Think about it for a second. If they actually cared about you, they would actually help you become self-sufficient, not more dependent. I mean, studies show a mom on welfare, her children are more likely to be on welfare. Why aren't they trying to solve this? Why aren't they trying to stop this? They're not. They're handing out more freebies. And then we're taking them. They're essentially crumbs. And we're saying, oh, thank you. We appreciate you. You care about me. No, they don't care about you. They care about you staying dependent. They give you just enough so that you are good, but not enough where you'll thrive. If you thrive, you just might wake up and say, man, I am much better off without government handouts. I'm much better off without all of these freebies. Accomplishing the American dream, hard work, sacrifice feels so much more rewarding than any handout. And then that may lead to you voting a different way, thinking a different way. They can't have that. They need you to be dependent. The more dependent you are on them, the more you'll need them. And if you'll need them, you'll do what? You'll vote for them so you can keep those freebies coming. And then you vote for them. What happens? They stay in power. It's never been about you. If it was about you, Nancy Pelosi wouldn't have been walking around without her mask during COVID while yelling at you to put yours on. If it was about you, they wouldn't be sitting here telling you to welcome illegals into your home. Be a good neighbor and let them in, let them stay while they live behind gated fences. They've never cared about you. They only care about staying in power. We have to realize that.
I want to continue with that conversation what you just said. It's the fact that, Black America, thank God to Blexit. It's exiting the victimhood mentality. We're not victims, we are victors. We are free for such time as this as well. But the left has been using the immigrants as tokens because they now see men. They talking about black men, but women are leaving the the Democrat Party in loads, and they're not looking back. And now what they're doing, they come with the same tactic that they use for the black community. They're using to immigrants like my community. They have no idea what they're getting into.
Yeah. Well, I definitely believe that the agenda that's happening, because that's what it is. It's an agenda. If anybody thinks this is an accident that people are pouring into our country, oh my gosh, Biden and Harris, like, oh my gosh, we're doing what we can. We're trying to help. They're just coming in. We're gonna do what we can to strengthen the border. They don't care. This is all by design. There's an agenda in play, and if people don't know, they need to really read up on some. They need to get out of whatever echo chamber they're in and see the facts. Because ultimately, this has been going on for a while. The Democrats, this is why they couldn't stand Trump. He came in, he's talking about the border. He wants to close the border. He was shutting down their votes. This is votes. These are future votes. They can't have that. This man drove them nuts for a lot of reasons, and they may not talk about it, but that was one of the main reasons. He was ruining the plan of this mass illegal immigration to protect their voting bloc for decades to come. Okay, because Black America is, you look at the numbers, you look at these polls, and people say, oh, well, Biden got a decent amount of support. Yeah, but you look deeper into those numbers, Black men moved a bit, and they see the shift. They see it happening. And now you look at these polls from this cycle, what's looking like it's getting ready to take place. My goodness, they know that people are starting to wake up. They hear voices like you out there, Renata. They hear my voice. They see what Blex is doing in these communities. Listen, we're on historically Black colleges and universities. How crazy is that? How crazy it is to have a Black conservative group right in the middle of historically Black colleges and universities. They are very aware. That it's a battle now. And what are they doing? They're like, you know what? We're going to have to protect our voting bloc. And if that means replacing the Black vote, then we'll do what we got to do. Because ultimately, it's about power. And that's why I mentioned earlier, they do not care about us. We got to elect Trump, Renata, right? I know you love that. You've been a ride or die for President Trump for a long time. And people need to know that about you. You've believed in him for so long. We got to get him back in office.
Absolutely. When I see Trump, like people used to tell me, Renata, but he's racist. He's going to deport all the immigrants. You are immigrant. How can you support Trump? The funny thing is, before he going down that escalator, all of the left used to be partying with him. Everybody wants to be with Trump. Everybody wants to go to the Trump parties, go to the Trump Tower, be in his show. And what happened? What happened is because they saw a man that was not held by the system. Mm. He doesn't have no ties with no one. He's a billionaire. This man has money. He doesn't need their money. And that's why they try to keep the money from him. A lot of people that I spoke to had no idea that President Trump never took a paycheck. He never took a salary. He had to give, I think, $1 back just to emphasize that he was, receiving some type of money, because it would be totally illegal for a president not to get a pay at all. So he got to take $1 for himself and give everything. And I believed in him because when I first heard him, I saw, if you cherish what you love. And no one can deny the love that President Trump has for America, for this land. And you're going to take care of what you love. And he's taking care, like he doesn't have to do what he's doing for this country. Look what the backlash that he's been having. He could be enjoying his family. He could be enjoying his life, retirement, all the money, going to all the places in the world. But I believe he has a calling in his life. And that's what he's doing. I don't put him on a pedestal like some people say, oh, Renata, you're putting him on a pedestal. No, I just see his policies. And I purchased my home during his presidency. I was able to acquire my place. And I remember how cheap the gas was, how great the jobs were, the economy, everything running. And it's like, he's a businessman. And people say, oh, he went through a bankruptcy. I said, well, how many people, make mistakes in life and they came back? He turned his life around. You can see that there's hope. If you're going through struggles financially, there is hope for you. And that's what I see on President Trump. I've been to Mar-a-Lago. I've been to many of his rallies. We took a picture with him, Pierre. You were there to facilitate that for us, because that was a dream to me that day that I had an opportunity to take a picture with Trump. That was fantastic. And the love, how he shared in the room, how he embraced Madeline. I know you're gonna be interviewing Madeline in the future. And I saw his love for everyone that was in that room. And we just saw the compassion that he had. They tried to kill the man 4 times, because I think there was a town hall that he was in. People got a little nauseous at that event. So why they try to keep killing him? Yep. And not the left. No one from the left got any attempts against the left, except, JFK, what happened. But, everybody that wants to do right, they wanted to take them out. And if the left is against someone, I'm going to be in favor of that person.
Yep. He's an outsider. He's breaking up the system. He is not a candidate or a president that they can control. He's everything that America needs. Renata, listen, it's been a pleasure having you on. I want you to tell the audience really quick, where can they find you? Because you have you got some things coming down the pipeline, God and Country and some other stuff. Tell the audience really quick, how can they stay connected to you?
Absolutely. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be here with 511 Media, with Mike. I know we've been doing so many great things with the shows, giving opportunities to many voices that wants to be heard. And also being with, I'm starting my podcast pretty soon, working on it. It's called God and Country by Renata. And I'm going to be sharing a lot of my passion, my view, my story. My co-host is going to be Kenton Young. He's going to be with me doing the show. And we're going to be traveling about faith, family, and freedom that we believe in. And so they can go to God and Country by Renata.com, and I would love to connect with you. Also with 511 Media, Renata at 511media.co. I would love to connect with you as well. And we can keep having voices throughout the country, throughout the nation, and also speaking to other people, like especially for the Brazilians too. I wanted to make sure that they understand what's going on in the country. Because back in Brazil, majority of Brazilians are all conservatives. And then we come here and we become leftists. That's not right. It's just because they not understand what they're being proposed to them. That is not the true reality of this country. This country is amazing. It's incredible. And thank you, Pierre, for having me. Thank you for this great opportunity. And I can't wait to see you continue to shine with Unchained and having so many amazing stories that Americans needs to listen to, and knowing that you matter. You matter to God. You matter to this country, and you are unique. Thank you.
Thank you, Renata. And I want to say one more thing before you go. Congratulations to you on breaking those chains. You are an abortion survivor. You've overcome so much. And yet you are not a victim of your circumstances. So congratulations to you for being a chain breaker. God bless you, Renata.
Thank you.
I'm so excited. I mean, I couldn't have picked a better first guest. I'm so excited about where we're going to take this show. That was just actually, we're just getting started, guys. I mean, I'm telling you, we came with a bang, right? But we're just getting started. We have so many amazing guests that are lined up for you guys, and I promise to have tough conversations. But before I wrap, I want to say something really quickly. At the end of every episode, I am going to share an additional really quick story, it won't be long, about someone who broke a chain. It could be someone that is called in, or someone who has written us, or someone story who I came across. And this one actually was on Facebook. So I won't say her name just because I don't know. She kind of wrote this in a group chat as an anonymous participant, but she told a very powerful story. I won't have time to go through the entire thing, but she had 2 abortions in her life. She lost a 3rd child due to her drug addiction. And she had a suicide attempt that failed. She tried to kill herself and it didn't work. By every stretch of the imagination, this is a person that people will look at as broken or maybe irredeemable, or there's nothing you can do about her. I mean, she's just, right? Some people will look at her, sadly, as the bottom of society. Today, she has her master's degree. She has 2 kids. She's married. She lives in a beautiful home and she is thriving. So she's a chain breaker, and there are so many people out there who have broken chains. So if you are one of those people, whatever your situation may be, whatever circumstance you're in today, please know that it doesn't define you. You too can overcome. You too can break those chains. God bless you guys. And shout out to 511 Media, Mike, and the entire team. This is episode 1. What you guys are doing does not go unnoticed. I'm so excited to go on this journey with you guys. God bless you guys. Until next time.